2026 is off to a great start, and it's almost time. With many exciting predictions and the recent emphasis on a potential major planetary event occurring in April, it promises to be a super transformational month. And we couldn't be more excited to be in Hawaii during this shift to integrate new frequencies. Folks, this will be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. April the 20th through the 24th, 2026. Join us in Kona, Hawaii for Journey to Truth's very first vacation conference retreat. Enjoy 9 presenters over 5 days with ocean adventures with dolphins and whales and sacred sites and so much more. Experience Hawaii like never before. You will enjoy 5 days on the Big Island, so don't wait. Start planning your trip today at journeytotruth.online. That's journeytotruth.online. It's time for the UNX News. Extraterrestrials, time anomalies, dimensions, remote viewing, UFOs, UAPs, and USOs, ghostly encounters, abductions, Bigfoot, and more. Your end of the week news source for everything unexplained. Here is your host for the UNX News Podcast, Margie K.
Good evening. Welcome to UNX News. I'm your host, Margie K. And we have a good show for you this evening. You do not want to miss this. Stay for the whole thing and share it with all of your friends because Paul Dale Roberts is with me this evening. I do want to mention one thing before we get started. Next week, my show is an introduction to the Oz Professional Paranormal Investigators Association. So if you haven't heard about it, attend that meeting, well, my show next week when we're going to be rolling it out, and you are going to love what we've got going because what we're doing basically is trying to standardize the industry for paranormal investigators and provide an educational platform and certifications. So you can hear all about it next weekend. And actually, I need to talk to Paul about this as well. But we're going to have some really great classes coming up. Now, my guest this evening, he's been here before. You may know him, but tonight we're talking about something a little bit different. Paul Dale Roberts personally investigated several serial killer victim sites, and we're going to talk about that this evening. Paul was born in 1955 in Fresno, California. He has an associate's degree in criminology, and in 1977, he was a firefighter for 1 year, but he found out that that was not his cup of tea. He served with the U.S. Army's D.S.T drug suppression team. In Germany, he worked undercover narcotics, and then from 79 to 86, he served in the military intelligence, working at the Photo Interpretation Center in Korea. He held the top secret special background investigation clearance as an intelligence analyst. And as you can see, he's done many other things, but now he is a paranormal investigator. He's done over 750 investigations and 750 articles he has written, with some of them being in, of course, UNX magazine. And so welcome to the program, Paul. Glad you could join us.
Margie, thank you for having me. I think it's going to be a really good show because a lot of terrible things happen at serial killer victim sites. And I knew things would happen because it's such dark energy and it never goes away. It's always there.
Yes, that is so true that when anything with a lot of emotion around it, fear, and the energy of murder, which is the worst, that does seem to stick around, doesn't it?
It sure does.
And of course, you know, houses, haunted houses, things like that we're all familiar with. But you have this little specialty that we're going to talk about tonight, the serial killer victim sites. How did you get interested in that subject?
Well, it's probably because, I went to school for criminology. So I became very interested in that. And then when I became a paranormal investigator, I was thinking, I said, well, we should do investigations where you see crosses on the side of the road. I said, there's probably a lot of residual energy there. And sure enough, we stopped at this one cross and we can hear a car crashing and you can hear two women screaming.
Oh.
And that negative energy was right there where that car crash was. So I said, if that happens with that, a car crash, what would happen if we went to serial killer victim sites? And surprisingly, we got a lot of evidence.
What kind of evidence did you get?
Like with Richard Trenton Chase, the vampire of Sacramento, there was this one house where he killed 4 family members. And every time we took a picture inside that house, nobody wants to live in that house because 4 people were actually murdered there.
Yeah.
And Richard Trenton Chase would actually sit behind a half brick wall and watch the people come in and out of that house. And he would be stooped down, getting so excited and defecating.
Oh.
Yeah. And a very sick man. I mean, he even took, they call him a vampire of Sacramento because he would actually, when he had a victim, he would actually drink their blood. But he also, too, took a bird, popped open his head, and drank his blood that way. So, yeah, he was a very horrible person. And we kept on taking pictures inside that house and we kept on getting missed. And there was no explanation for that. And several cameras we were using and we would get this mist in the house. So there was something definitely paranormal happening there. We also too got an EVP and you can hear people, it sounded like screaming. So this information was placed on the internet and we got 24 Productions contacted us from England, and they did a documentary called Conversations with a Serial Killer, and was based on Richard Trenton Chase. So if you ever see that documentary, you'll see me on there talking about it. But yeah, it was very horrible. That man is definitely going down.
Oh, yeah. Now, is he in prison?
Oh, he committed suicide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How many people did he kill?
Oh, gosh. Okay, 4 in that one house. I think about 8.
Did anybody ever find out what the motive was on that?
Oh, he was just insane. He thought by drinking blood that he would be immortal. He would be rejuvenate into a young person. So he thought he needed other people's blood.
You know, that is a thing that some people believe, and it's pretty sick. I can't imagine. So, have you ever, when you're investigating these sites, have you ever had any hitchhikers follow you after you're done with the investigations?
Hitchhikers?
Yeah, any spirits follow you home?
In those cases, no. I've had cases where we had an entity follow us home. And what I do is to get rid of it is do a full submersion baptism. And that's a basic form of exorcism. So if someone says, yeah, Paul, I have an attachment or something followed me home, I actually perform a baptism, and it works. Uh, People say, Paul, the entity's gone. My attachment's gone. So that's what I do.
Okay. But you haven't had any follow you home personally.
Just one time, and I had somebody baptize me, and it was gone. I never had problems with it.
Okay. Good to know. Well, we've got another uh, person here. What is this about?
Okay, this guy happens to be Randall Woodfield, the I-5 killer.
Oh.
And this guy, believe it or not, he was a good football player, and they wanted him in the Green Bay Packers. But little did they know he was a serial killer, and he killed 44 people. They wanted him to be a wide receiver, and he did play for the Portland State Vikings. Now, get this. He was also, too, a Playgirl model. He was in Playgirl magazine, and they were considering him as a centerfold. So, Margie, if you have any stacks of Playgirls and he's in it, it might be worth some money.
No, I don't, unfortunately. It might be worth some money. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God. But anyway, he had the I-5 corridor from Washington to Oregon to California. And he would pick up women at local bars, or if they were hitchhiking, or at a rest area. He would meet them at a rest area or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we went to a couple areas where he actually killed somebody. And one of my investigators, a woman, she says, something's stroking my hair. And one of the investigators claims, and they got real excited, they said, Paul, her hair just moved up by itself. I didn't see it, but that's what they were claiming. So, yeah. So that was the situation with the Randall Woodfield I-5 killer.
Did you, on the sites that you investigated, did you get any other evidence besides the hair moving?
No. Yeah, we took a lot of pictures, everything else, it was all normal. But here's the interesting thing. There was another person who did killings on I-5, and that was the I-5 strangler, Roger Kibbe. And Roger Kibbe, in one of the situations, was on Sutterville and I-5. He parked along the Sacramento River, and he had a woman that he picked up from the bar. And he opened up the glove compartment, pulled out a pair of scissors, and started snipping at her dress. Imagine how terrifying that must be.
Oh.
And she couldn't get away from him. And the I-5 strangler strangled her. Well, anyway, we were taking pictures over there, and one of our psychic mediums actually passed out at this location, just collapsed. We had to revive him. Then he was back to normal. He says, let me get away from this place. It's too much for me. And he went back and sat in the car. We took a lot of pictures there, and along the Sacramento River, hovering over the Sacramento River, was a black orb. And a black orb usually represents depression, sadness, and we believe that is probably the spiritual containment field for the victim, that black orb. And that's that's the evidence that we got there.
All right, I want to go in delve a little bit more into this spiritual containment field. What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, we all know what orbs are. Orbs could be almost anything. It could be dust, could be lint, could be skin flakes, dewdrops, light refractions, whatever. And what we try to do, we had a case. I don't know if I talked about this on the show, but we had a case where we went to his house, and the entity was named Emily, and she was known to drain the energy from the occupants. And one of my investigators says, Paul, I feel drained. I feel fatigued. I need to sit down. My vertigo's off. I feel like I'm going to faint. I said, yeah, sit down. And I said, I wonder if Emily's draining the energy from you. And I said, Emily, if you're listening to me, I said, kiss him on the lips. So 3 of us with cameras took a picture, and we got an orb on his mouth. That showed intelligent movement. And I said, Emily, if you're listening to me again, sit on his lap. And the orb was now hovering over his lap. That showed intelligent movement. That is something I can consider as a spiritual containment field, a real orb that is actually a ghost.
Okay, so the orb is the spirit of a person.
Right, exactly.
That does make sense, because on a number of investigations I've been on, we have had orbs appear to the naked eye, but then also on our night vision cameras. Sometimes you don't see all of them with the naked eye. They might get picked up by the camera, but also vice versa. Sometimes the camera doesn't get it, and you see it with the naked eye. Have you had that happen?
Oh, yeah. And also, too, what I do now, Margie, is I will place my hand up against the wall, and I'll say, okay, if this house is haunted, and if there's really a ghost here, appeared by my hand, and someone will take a picture, and there's an orb on my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, again, that shows intelligent movement.
Yeah, you can't discount orbs. There has to be something to it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even like my mother, she says she was psychic. She stayed at a haunted house in Mexico City. And at this haunted house, at the foot of her bed, she saw an orb. And the orb transformed into a small boy. And he had a basket of roses, and the rose petals were hitting the floor and melting. So,
whoa.
Yeah.
That's a different one.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this up here. What is this?
Oh, okay. Doretha Puente, the boarding house killer. And this lady, she would go to the local bar, which is right down the street. That's me right there in front of her house. After I did an investigation over there, and she would meet old people, old men who are living off their Social Security, and she would convince them to move into this house. She would take charge of their Social Security checks, cash them, put it in her name in the bank. And then she would eventually she had another boarding house member there help her. She would poison the guy. He would die, and they would move the body. They would bury the bodies in the front yard, the backyard, and one body on the Sacramento River. And so I did an investigation there. The only thing I got was a bunch of orbs. Right on the roof, all I got was all these orbs. Oh, I did get one EVP, and it was a man, and he was saying something like, don't push me, or something like that. So I did get that EVP, and I got a bunch of orbs. But yeah, that's the murders would take place in that house.
You know, that sounds like that old movie, Arsenic and Old Lace, where the 2 old ladies would entice men to come in to have a dinner or something, and they were poisoning them and burying them in the basement.
Oh my gosh.
If you haven't seen that movie,
I haven't. What's the
I'm
name of
telling
it?
Arsenic and Old Lace.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the original old one from the 1930s. It's fantastic. Oh my gosh, that sounds just like it. I wonder if that lady got the idea from watching that movie.
Probably.
Makes you wonder.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder. Oh my gosh.
When did it come out? What year?
I'd have to look it up, but I'm thinking the late 30s, early 40s.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jimmy
most
Stewart.
likely.
Jimmy Stewart was in it.
Wow.
Yeah. So the house, well, first of all, what happened to the killer, the serial killer? Do you know?
Oh, well, she was arrested. They put her in prison, and she died in prison. And she died of natural causes.
And does someone own the house now?
Oh, yeah. Well, they made it into a museum.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. They have these mannequins dressed up as Doretha Puente. They have mannequins dressed up as the victims. Yeah, it's a museum now. And and they have something like 3 blessings of the house. And they said that the house isn't haunted anymore. And even Ghost Adventures have been there. And
what town is that in?
Huh?
What town is it?
Sacramento, California.
Sacramento. Wow.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, you're making me want to go check that one out myself.
Have you ever heard of Gerald and Charlene Gallegos?
I have not.
Oh, okay. Well, they were a loving couple.
Okay.
But what they would do is they would find young women. Well, Charlene would find young women for her husband, Gerald. And when Gerald got a hold of them, he did terrible things to them. So anyway, they were at the Sunrise Mall in Citrus Heights, which is next to Sacramento. Sacramento gets a lot of serial killers.
I was going to say.
Yeah. And we went to the parking lot where Gerald and Charlene Gallegos were at. And Charlene would go into the mall, find a pretty woman, and say, "Hey, my husband would love to take your picture and make you a model." And they would be all excited, go to the van, and Gerald would be waiting for them and throw them into the van.
Ladies, don't get in a van, okay? Don't get in a van.
No. And then they took off. They were going up Highway 50 towards Lake Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled over on the side of the road, and Charlene took the girl out of the van and hit her over the head with a shovel.
Oh.
It killed her. Anyway, we were at that parking lot, and we did get some residual energy. We actually got an EVP of a woman saying, "No, don't, let me go."
Oh, wow.
Yes. And we believe that's the residual energy of the victim who didn't want to go into that van.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Now, Paul, how do you find these exact locations where victims were murdered?
Oh, because a lot of the information was either in the newspaper or in books, because people write books, especially on serial killers, like Richard Trenton Chase. One of the detectives wrote a book, and he had the address of every victim house.
Oh, wow.
So we knew exactly where everything was just by looking at the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you just get a hold of the owners and ask them if you can investigate. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I imagine that your history, your past history, being an investigator, has done well for you in this type of investigating as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We did. Have you ever heard of Charles Ng and Leonard Lake?
Have not. No.
Oh, okay. That one, these two guys, they lived in a cabin in Wilseyville, California. That is probably about 2 hours from Sacramento. And the things that they did, they would bring women to their cabin, and they killed something like over 30 women.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And they would videotape it. So the police found all these videotapes and everything else. And the cabin, the people of Wilseyville, they didn't want to see that cabin anymore. They demolished it. They destroyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So we went, my investigators and myself, we went out to Wilseyville. We had no idea where that cabin was, but we had a psychic, and her name was Holly DeLauder. And she was the secretary of Sylvia Brown.
Oh.
Yeah. And she herself, Holly, was a really good psychic. And I said, okay, well, we need to locate where that cabin used to be at. And I mean, everything was just plowed over. And she was able to go over there. And she goes, the cabin was here. She goes, if you take a picture over there, she goes, you're going to get a picture of one of the victims. So we started snapping pictures, and sure enough, we got this misty form of a human.
Wow.
Yeah, we had no explanation. I mean, that had to be a ghost. That had to be the victim. And so the area where she said the cabin was, I mean, we couldn't tell because everything was plowed over. We got one of the residential people, and we said, look, we're doing like a little investigation. Can you tell us where the cabin was? And she had actually found the actual spot.
Mm-hmm.
Where she said was where the cabin was where the cabin was.
She was a good psychic.
Yeah, she was really good. Yes. Yeah. In fact, she actually went to my Mount Shasta investigation, and she goes, take a picture of me. I go, how come? A mosquito. And she goes, there's something behind me. So I take a picture, and when we look at the picture, there was a tilted UFO behind her.
Oh.
And you couldn't see it with the naked eye, but as soon as we took the picture, you could see it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And she just said, there's something behind me. She didn't say what.
Exactly.
But I'll bet she knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk more with Paul Dale Roberts.
Behind every ghost story and creature feature lies a far more terrifying truth. The real monsters wear human faces. In the chilling book, All Monsters Are Human, from Derek Smith, 10 Twisted Tales expose the darkest parts of a human soul. From killers hiding in plain sight to obsessions turned deadly. Each story invites you to step into a shadowed world where morality unravels, and the only thing more terrifying than what lurks in the dark is who. These aren't just horror stories. They're reflections of ourselves, showing what happens when fear, rage, guilt, and desire take control. Visit nxmedia.com for more information on All Monsters Are Human from Derek Smith. And you can purchase them at amazon.com from nxmedia.com. The truth, it's out there, and it's waiting for you. The Unexplained Network is your source for the best in paranormal programming, live video streaming, and audio streaming from hauntings, UFOs, Bigfoot, cryptids, and the ever-expanding realm of the unexplained. Listen live or on demand now on Spreaker, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, and Pockets all over the World Wide Web. The Unexplained Network, where unexplained lives.
And welcome back to UNX News. We're talking tonight with Paul Dale Roberts, and he has investigated several serial killer victim sites. How many of those sites have you investigated in total?
About 9 or 10.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. We even went to the house that belonged to Joseph James D'Angelo Jr., the Golden State Killer, or also too known as the East Area Rapist, the Visalia Ransacker, and the original Night Stalker. So, yeah, we went over to the house and it was all taped off. They had the police tape on it. We did a little outside investigation. We didn't get anything. So we think that no murders happened at that house. All the murders happened away from the house. But we got nothing over there.
Is that usually what serial killers do? They keep their business away from their house, except for the one
Yeah,
that you're talking about.
yeah. Most of them, unless they have one of those creepy basements, that you hear about where they bring people into the house, take them to the basement, the place is soundproof and everything else, then you're in danger if you go to a place like that.
Yeah. Yeah, don't get in a van and don't go in a basement. That's good advice. Okay, let's see, we've got that picture. What about this picture?
Oh, okay, yeah. That was taken over in that was taken in. Now I'm trying to remember, in downtown Sacramento, and that was a victim's house of the Golden State Killer, and this strange orb right here going to one of my investigators' head. Yeah, we had a videotape, and it just kind of zoomed around the room for a while. Then it went through a wall and it just vanished. So it was kind of odd, and we believe that's probably a victim,
since it was their house.
And that's over at the Ion Hotel. Those were all my investigators. There's a room that a prostitute back in the 1800s used to stay there, and she was known as the Black Rose. And she met a man who wanted her to get away from prostitution and just to be his wife. Mm-hmm. And he caught her with another man. He went crazy and he killed her. Well, after she died, an image of a black rose appeared on the wall. And the previous owners, tried to get rid of the black rose by washing it off, and it would come back. And they also painted over it, and the image of the black rose came back again. So to this very day, the black rose, the image of the black rose, is on that wall. And we believe that the prostitute known as the Black Rose, she's purposely doing that so you don't forget her.
How do you think it's possible that a spirit can create something like that or manipulate, electricity a lot, but something like that it would form this energy and what type of material do you think they're using? I mean, is it paint or what is it?
They said they had a person look at the wall, and the person who was analyzing this wall was saying that it was some type of bacteria and that it should wash off. or it was a mold. It was a type of mold, and that it should wash off. But they washed it off, and it would be gone for a couple of days and then reappear. So they have no explanation for it.
I have heard of a number of cases where something like that happens, where things reappear. They put kills on it, they paint over it, and then it's back.
Yeah.
It's like this super strong residual energy that just cannot be removed.
You know, you just reminded me of something. One of our investigations was called the Pedro investigation, because on the door, this guy who rode a motorcycle, he got killed in a car accident. His motorcycle was hit by this car. He flew off the motorcycle and died. And his face appears on the door. And they can't get rid of that face. They painted over it, they've washed it, and his face still appears on the wall and or on the door. And he's wearing sunglasses. He always wore sunglasses. And in that image of Pedro, there's sunglasses on that door.
Now that is weird.
That
That
is
has
weird.
got to be first.
Yes.
Can you imagine living in that house and that face being there? Oh my gosh. I think I would be selling the house
Yeah.
or burning it down. I don't know. One or the two. Goodness. Speaking of, have there been any cases that you know of where a house has been burned down because of whatever reason, paranormal activity, and then a house rebuilt there and the same things happen? Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. There was a situation of a house in Placerville that was built in the 1800s. It was haunted. During a wildfire, it burned down, and they rebuilt a house there, and it was haunted from the old house. So the spirits were still on the land. So when they built a new house, it became haunted. Yeah. So yeah.
Same space. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
What about this one?
Oh, that's Preston Castle. Supposedly, Richard Trenton Chase stayed at Preston Castle. And one of my investigators, who was a researcher, tried to say that he stayed at this castle. And then I did my own research, and I didn't find any record of Richard Trenton Chase, the serial killer, the vampire of Sacramento, staying at Preston Castle. So I think that was incorrect information. But conversations with a serial killer, they loved the castle so much. And I tried to tell them, I said, Richard Trenton Chase didn't stay at this prison. And they said, yeah, but it's so cool, Paul. We're going to go ahead and film it anyway. I said, oh, my God.
Oh.
They said, just go with it. I go, all right, I'll go with it. Yeah. I said, but some historian's going to be watching this and say, hey, where are you getting this information at? It's wrong. But what was kind of unique about the castle is that back in the day when it was a working prison, there was 3 boys that captured one of the nurses, and they kicked her to death. So, yeah. And then also too, while we did an all-night investigation there, and one of my female investigators was walking across the floor, and a ghost of one of the inmates said, whores, 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 3 times. He was calling my female investigator a whore. And that was just mind-blowing. Well, anyway, when that information, I wrote an article about it. Oh my God, everybody in the world wanted to investigate Preston Castle. So conversations with a serial killer, that was us. But then Ghost Adventures went there. Ghost Hunters went there. The other Siders went there. Ghost Lab went there. All these paranormal TV shows went there because of the incident. Well, one, because it's a cool castle. Two, used to be a prison. And now it got so much publicity, people pay good money just to go into Preston Castle.
Do they do ghost tours there?
Yep, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. So what are some of the other serial killer victim sites you have investigated?
Okay, so um, I told you about Roger Kibbe, the I-5 Strangler. We had Morris Solomon Jr., the handyman killer. And one of the sites that he killed a woman, these women would contact him and said, "Oh, you're a handyman. Can you repair this in my house? Can you repair that?" And he would, but at some point in time, he would kidnap them and kill them. And one of his victims, he took to William Lamb Park, and she jumped out of his car. He chased her, and then he stabbed her to death. Well, we would do ghost tours, and we would stop at that location. And every single time, just in that one location, we would get all these orbs. And then people would get cold chills on a hot summer day. You would get these freezing cold chills.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe that was the victim. And it seems like we would take pictures all over the park and not get any orbs. But just at one location, we would get orbs and we would feel cold spots. So we do believe that was the victim trying to let us know that she's still around.
Mm-hmm. And whatever happened to the killer?
Oh, he's in prison. He's still in prison.
What do you think motivates some of these killers?
Just a sickness. They get this obsession for, and it usually has to do with sex. So, they want their victim. They want to be able to do whatever they want with the victim. Torture them, whatever. So it's just a very sick, like Ted Bundy. I mean, the guy could have been a great lawyer, but he had a very sick mind. I mean,
Yeah.
the things that he did and everything else. So we even did San Francisco Zodiac at Lake Berryessa. That's where the Zodiac wore the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the Zodiac symbol on his chest. And this couple was at Lake Berryessa, and the woman, they were making out, and the woman, she was looking off in the distance, and she sees this guy with a mask, and she goes, "Look at that guy, that's kind of weird." And her boyfriend looks, and he goes, "Yeah, just ignore him, And they go back to making out again, and then she goes, "Take a look now." And now he's closer and he's looking at them. And she goes, "I'm starting to get really creeped out." And the boyfriend goes, just ignore him and he'll go away. Well, they go back to making out, and when she looks again, he's right on them.
Mm-hmm.
He's holding a gun. Then he tells the boyfriend, he goes, "Okay, tie up her wrists." So he does, and then he takes the boyfriend and ties up their wrists. And then he takes a knife and he starts stabbing the woman in front of the boyfriend. And then he stabs the boyfriend. The boyfriend survives. His girlfriend's dead. Well, we went to that location and we did an investigation there. And one of the rocks at that location started glowing.
Oh my.
Yeah. And I took pictures of it. I sent it over to Coast to Coast AM, and they were going to go ahead and publish it. But it wasn't coming out clear enough for their website. They published some other stuff of mine on their website, and they wanted to publish this one, but it just didn't come out clear enough. But they were very interested in it.
I'm very interested in it. I'd like to see that picture.
Yeah,
The only time I've ever done a case where something glowed was actually an animal mutilation case.
Oh.
And the animal had been moved by the time I got there. It was still on site, but had been moved from its original place to kind of hide it from the neighbors, I think. And they said they went out there at night and that area glowed that the cow had been in for 3 nights.
Wow.
And then it stopped glowing. Well, that has nothing to do with serial killer sites, but it's just, the rock glowing. That's very strange. It's almost like there has to be a substance on it to make that happen. But
well, also too, there was other people that were looking at it, and one person, and he claims that he was a scientist. He says that when a rock during the daytime on a hot day absorbs heat, that at nighttime it would look like it was glowing.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean that's logical. So, and also too, Coast to Coast AM, they kind of picked up on that too from the scientists.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that made them decide not to publish it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you want to know the answer, no matter what it is. It's nice if it's something paranormal, but it isn't always. And that's part of the game, is finding out answers, what the truth is.
Exactly. Yeah. So if they could debunk it, and they said it's because the heat of the sun and everything else, yeah, I'll go with that.
When you go to these serial killer victim sites, do you ever go alone, or do you always have someone with you?
I always have someone with me. Yeah, and also too, I have a big team. So if I say, hey, I'm going to so and so, and I need 5 people, I can get 5 people just like that.
Yeah, I saw that one picture. You had 17 people.
I know.
That's a big team.
we did Mare Island, and I had 75 people show up.
Oh my.
Yeah. And we were the first ones to investigate Mare Island. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting.
Is there ever a point where there's too many people on a team?
Like Mare Island was perfect because it's a huge place. Mm-hmm. So there's so much to cover. So something like that is fine. And I'll just announce it on Facebook. Now I'm sort of retired from paranormal investigating. I've actually done 2,500 investigations. So I'm now more concentrating on my books, magazines like yours, an X magazine, and also to doing podcasts. I love doing podcasts and everything else. And so.
Plus, you don't have to get out and travel.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing. That travel is sometimes is a killer.
Yeah. I mean, oh my God. I'll tell you, when I first started, I was so gung-ho. If someone says, oh, we got a haunting in Bakersfield, I was on the road. Boom. I was headed to Bakersfield. Yeah. Someone mentioned Skinwalker Ranch. Boom. I was at Skinwalker Ranch. Or Area 51. Boom. There I was, Area 51. So I was really gung-ho when I started. But now, yeah, I'm relaxing a little bit.
Yeah. At any of these victim sites, has there also been any other type of paranormal activity like UFOs or cryptids or anything like that you wouldn't classify as a haunting?
Oh, yeah. Right here in Sacramento, we had the Mothman at the Tower Bridge. And I I thought this story was bogus when I first heard about it, but Lamont Greer was a professional photographer, and he was taking some pictures by the Tower Bridge. And he was putting his camera away, and lo and behold, he sees something that looks like the Mothman on top of the Tower Bridge. He didn't even know what the Mothman was.
Oh.
Then 6 other people on different nights saw the Mothman. So there had to be something that they're seeing. And I did an investigation. I mean, I didn't come up with anything, but the History Channel, Monster Quest, actually came down and interviewed Lamont Greer, and that was actually featured on the old Monster Quest. We did that. Dogman, I found out, was seen in 1953 in Sacramento, 200 yards from what is the Capitol now. And then 1963, Dogman was seen in Elk Grove, which is next to Sacramento, at Laguna Creek wetlands. So that's 2 cryptids, well, 3 cryptids right there. And then we had a water elemental that was seen at the Sacramento River, and it's called a wet lash. And Bob, what's the guy's name? Bob. Oh, I can forget what his name was, but his name was Bob, but I forget what his last name. And he was from Carmichael. He was out there fishing, and he saw this water elemental come out of the Sacramento River holding a fish. So we have our cryptids. Yeah, we have our cryptids out here.
Yeah, you do. I mean, well, I'm very interested in Mothman because we've got the Kansas City Mothman, and then, I've been investigating those and writing about them.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm glad to know about that one because I didn't know about the Tower Bridge.
Well, I went to Mount Shasta. We did a Bigfoot UFO hunt because UFOs are seen over there. I mean, Mount Shasta is a mystical mountain. You have the last of the Lemurians that supposedly live in the caves in Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
You have all kinds of ghosts because you had massacres of Native Americans at Mount Shasta. You have UFOs coming in and out of Mount Shasta.
Mm-hmm.
They believe Mount Shasta is on a ley line. They have Bigfoot. They have Bat Squatch. Bat Squatch was seen at Mount St. Helens, but also too now was seen at Mount Shasta. So you have all those cryptids. And when we did a Bigfoot hunt over there, I did a wood-on-wood communication with Bigfoot. And I hit this tree with a piece of wood 3 times. I had my investigators right in front of me, and right behind me was a creek and a rock. 3 rocks went into the creek as a response to my wood-on-wood communication.
Oh, wow.
And a bear can't throw rocks into the creek. No. So it had to be Bigfoot.
That's awesome. And I'm going to have you come back and talk about cryptids sometime because that's another subject I'm very interested in. Bat Squatch, I thought, was only in Missouri. So I am glad to know that it is somewhere else too. Other people have seen it. And Mount Shasta, oh gosh, there's a lot going on there.
Oh God, yeah, a lot. Yes.
If you want to have a paranormal experience, just go there. You're guaranteed, right?
Yeah, guarantee.
Yeah. Are there any other sites you've investigated that you would say you're guaranteed to have an experience?
Oh yeah, I've been to the bridge over River Kwai in Thailand, where torture, murder, rape, all kinds of terrible things happen, and you get a feeling of dread, depression. I mean, you could feel the sorrow in that place. Over in London, over on the Thames River and over in East London, you have the Jack the Ripper candlelight tour. You also too have the Tower of London, where many people were killed and tortured, and very haunted places. I mean, Tower of London is just like probably one of the most haunted places in the world.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been there. You can just
Yeah.
feel
Okay.
it.
There you
It's
go.
heaviness. The
Yeah.
air is thick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, had a lot of years for a lot of things going on there, and none of it good.
None of it good. None of it good.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I can't believe our time is up. Thank you so much for being on the show with me again. And will you come back to talk about cryptids sometime?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Margie, thank you for having me. It was just really great.
Sure thing. And how can people get a hold of you or see find your books and things like that?
Very simple. All you have to just Google my name, Paul Dale Roberts books, and you'll see all the books, or just Paul Dale Roberts, and you'll see my articles and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah.
Okay, and you've got your articles at jasmaonline.boards.net that we're showing across here. All right. Well, can't believe another show has ended, but thank you so much, Paul. We will be in touch. And of course, Paul's articles are in NX Magazine, nearly every issue.
Thank you. Yes, yes, yes.
And I thank you for that. They're always great. And no editing required. So I love you for that. All right, folks. Another episode has ended, and I will see you here again next week. Of course, we are going to be doing our introduction to the Oz Institute next week, so you really don't want to miss that. See you then.